Hi, I'm Dana, owner of Password Reset in Huntington Beach, California, and I want to thank you for visiting my website. If you're watching this video, you've probably forgotten your Windows password and can't log into your computer. Don't worry, because you've come to the right place. Password Reset can get you logged back into your computer in just a few short minutes, and it'll be like you never had a problem in the first place. My solution works with all versions of Windows, including Windows 2000, XP, Vista, Windows 7, and the new version 8, plus all the server versions as well. I'm now going to show you how my new version 4 software works and how easy it is to remove a forgotten password. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we're going to show you how to remove the password on a computer that has a forgotten password. And before we get started, I just wanted you to know that if you can't create the boot disk yourself or the boot device, we can send it out to you. As you can see, we have CDs, and we also can send you a USB drive. One similar to this, and we have a kit that we send out in a case, all nicely done, or you can just get the discs, just strictly the discs, so there's no extra charges for the printing and all that kind of thing. But if you'd like the real nice flashy stuff, we have that too, and that one's called the kit. So what we're going to do here is we're going to reset a password on this computer, and we're going to go ahead and use the USB. It's a little faster for boot time and so forth, so it's really no different than the CD or using a DVD. You do want to use CD-R if possible. If you do use a DVD, be sure it's a DVD-R. RWs are typically not very good to use, so I would stay away from those. So anyway, on this machine here, you'll see that we have a login screen, and this is the manager of the machine, and if he tries to put in his password, for instance, it's the message password is incorrect, try again. So this person's computer is just not going to work until we can get this password taken off. So we're going to start by going to another machine that works and creating the boot device. So we're going to do that next. Okay, so now we're at the computer that we're going to create the boot device on. And the first thing we do is we go to the website, password-reset.com. And you should end up at the home page normally first, which looks something like this. And it has the video on it and all the stuff up front. And then you're going to want to go to the download and instructions link up here, or if you're reading through it and it says download the software now, you can go ahead and click there. And then from that page you'll have the instructions and downloads, and here it says version 4.5 USB or CD. It's the same file that does both. And then we also have our older version 3.0, which works on most machines. It works on all versions, but certain hardware that they're coming out with the newer Windows 8 is needing some extra support. So the version 4 is taking care of that. So you probably want to just go ahead and start off with version 4. And what you want to do is you can click here if you want, and it'll take you down to the version 4 directions and so forth. The file is about 174 megabytes. So you click this blue bar here to get everything to expand, and then you can go ahead and read through the instructions. First thing you do is you're going to click here to download the file. So you go ahead and click it. And if you have a fast internet connection, like for instance mine takes about a minute, not even probably a minute to download, but depending on your download speed, you might take a little longer. If you have a slow speed, the version 3 is a very small file and can go a lot quicker. If your machine's a little not so new, that one will work good for slow internet connection if you want to create the disk faster. Also does boot a little quicker. Now we're going to go ahead and do ours on a thumb drive, and we're going to insert that into the slot on the side of the computer. And then once it's done downloading, which it is, over here I'm using Chrome, and then I went ahead and moved the file to the desktop. So now we've got that file on the desktop, so I'm going to go ahead and close the windows I have open. And that's the window for the disk, the thumb drive I just inserted, so I'm going to close that. And that leaves us with just this software file for the Password Reset 4.5. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it to launch it. And now if you get a error like this, it's okay. You can go ahead and run the software. It's safe, so I just say yes. That was just a security warning. And then what it's going to do is it's just going to ask you what type of device you want to make, USB or CD. And you'll also notice there's a temporary file and a log file that come up on the directory where you have this, and that's perfectly fine. They just come up for the creation of the software, and it can be deleted later. It's no big deal. We're going to go with USB, so I'm just going to click USB. It's already picked up the drive, so if we didn't know that where the drive was, or we put it in afterwards, we could click this refresh and it would tell us where that drive is, and we know it's F. So now we're just going to go ahead and begin copying. And once it starts to format and copy, it takes probably about 30 seconds or so to create it. So I'm going to give it some time here. Okay, so we kind of brushed this ahead a little bit so you wouldn't have to wait for the whole thing to download or complete the format. So we're not 100%. That took us about a minute maybe. So now that it's finished, we can close the program, and I'm just going to open up a file folder just to see what's on the disk, just to make sure. And you can see drive F is password reset, and there's the file. So it created it correctly. So we now have a working USB drive. I can pull it out of the slot, and now we're ready to use this to reset the password on our computer from earlier. So now we're going to go ahead and do that. Okay, now we're back at our machine here that we're going to delete the password on. And as you can see, we try to put in a password we think it is, and it tells us the password is going to be wrong. So we got to remove this password. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to change the boot priority on the BIOS of this machine so that it recognizes the flash drive and boots from our flash drive instead of going back into Windows. So I'm going to put this inside one of our slots here, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to shut the computer down. Now this is one of the it's got Windows 8 on it, but it's one of the older hardware devices that's runs off of a BIOS rather than what's called UEFI, which a lot of the Windows 8 machines are running off of. So I'm going to show you that as well after this one. But I like to shut the computer completely down rather than restart it. And then once it's shut down, which I know I'm looking at the front of the device here with the lights, and as soon as they all go off, we know it's now turned completely off, just about. And I know that to get into the BIOS of this machine, it's going to be the F2 key, which is very common with a lot of machines. F2, F12, F1, delete, escape, depends on the machine and the BIOS that you have. If you need help figuring that out, I have a BIOS section on the website, and also you can do Google search and so forth to find this information out, or just ask us and we can sometimes help too. So we're going to go ahead and turn the machine on, and I'm going to immediately, as soon as the splash screen comes up, I'm going to start hitting F2. So here it goes, and then I hit F2 and immediately went into the BIOS. And here you can see we have all the different sections of the BIOS, and I want boot. So I'm going to arrow over to boot, and you see that the hard drive is the first device, and I want to move that down below the flash drive, which is the USB drive we just created. And there's other devices as well, as you can see, like floppy disk drive, which we don't have, internal optical drive, which is the CD-ROM drive or whatever, or burner. So I'm going to go ahead and bring the hard drive down below the internal optical drive, so we're below, that way that it'll seek the flash drive and also the internal optical drive, just so if we were to have to switch over, say, to the CD drive, it'll already be set up to boot before the hard drive if we go that route. So I'm just going to hit F10 according to this to save and exit. So I hit F10, and yes, and now when it reboots, there's our splash screen. And instead of going into Windows, it's going into, well, it's sort of going into Windows, but it's going into the flash drive. This is not the actual operating system that's on this computer. It's actually what I've created on the flash drive. And you'll notice that in a pretty quick second here. So it looks a lot like Windows, so don't think that you're booting into your Windows. This is booting off of the drive. And the flash drive actually goes pretty quick. It's a little slower on the CD drive, so I always try to go with the flash drive if you can. And it's getting pretty close. And here we go. Now we've got a mouse. And you'll see that it's got my logo and so forth on there. And should get a couple icons up there as well, and we'll be ready to go. There we go. Okay, and then it adjusted the resolution for the screen size here. If you don't like the resolution, if it's too small or so forth, you can always right click and choose the screen resolution and change it so it looks a little easier for you to read. But we're looking good, so I'm going to go over here now to real quick. There's a quick guide here that kind of tells you quickly how to do this, and it also has a help guide over here which will bring up full instructions with screenshots as well. So we're not going to need those, so I'm just going to close that. And then we're going to go ahead and start by running the password software, and this is it. I'm going to move it up to the sit on the screen here, and you'll notice there's oop, I didn't quite mean to do that. You'll notice that there's a path to SAM, and then there's an open here. Now the open is grayed out, which means I can't click on it. And the reason why is because most of the time the path to SAM, where your password, username, files, and so forth are stored, is on the C drive. In this case, I happen to know on this computer it's not. So what you have to do is, if C isn't the one, then what you want to do is you want to just back out over the C and go to D, and you'll notice it's still not working. So I go to E, and you'll notice open now becomes active, and I can click on it, so it's clickable. So we know that the E drive is the correct one. Now I'm going to say open, and here's our list of users. And very simply, we just want to reset the password for manager, and I highlight it, and I say remove password. And this is where it's going to say, by reaching this point, it's now 100% guaranteed to work. So this is the point where you'd want to go ahead and buy the activation key. You don't want to spend any money up to this point. All this is what we've done is free, so you can make sure it's going to work first. And then you go ahead and enter the key that you buy here. So I'm going to go ahead and enter the key. It does show when you enter it, so I'm going to put this up out of the site here, just so I'm not giving the key away for free. Okay, so I've put the key in. I'm going to say OK, and now it's been removed. So now I just want to save the changes. You must save your changes so that it accepts what we just did, which is reset the manager account, save changes, and then simply exit the program. And that's it. And then all we need to do is shut down the machine. I'm going to click shut down. It does give you the choice to restart, shut down, and so forth. We're going to go ahead and we'll restart the machine, and it will eject the CD or DVD if you have it in there, if you have this checked. So I'm going to uncheck it since we're using the flash drive, and then we're going to restart the machine. But then before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and pull this out so it doesn't go back into the BIOS again, or the password reset again, and hit restart. Now, because I've only moved the hard drive down the list from the BIOS earlier, it'll now go into Windows because there's no CD device or the other USB device to boot from, so it's just going to not find those and just go right to the next thing in line, which is the hard drive. So as you can see, Windows is booting up here. And as you know, the manager account was what we were trying to get into. Now this machine has 2 versions of Windows on it, so I'm just going to tell it to go to Windows 8. And now you'll see it's actually logging right into the manager's account. It doesn't even stop and ask for the password. The password's not there. It's blank, so it's just going to go right in. If you want to put a password on, you can. Or you can just leave a password off of it, but right now it's just like it was, you know, like you never lost the password in the first place or didn't have one on there. And the computer is now ready to go, and you're done. You've just saved yourself a lot of time, a lot of money, not having to buy new programs or pay somebody to do this and reinstall everything. You know, Microsoft will tell you the only way to do this is to reinstall Windows, which you'll lose everything if you do that, so you want to stay away from that advice. So we're good to go. So the next thing I'm going to show you is I'm just going to show you on another machine that has Windows 8, but it's a UEFI BIOS, which is a little trickier. So I'm going to go ahead and give you a rundown on that if you're interested in seeing that. So stay tuned if you'd like. Okay, and one last thing I want to show you is this version 8 of Windows that uses the UEFI rather than the standard BIOS that the older computers use. And in order to change your boot settings on one of these, you need to do it actually from Windows. And you can be locked out, but you will have a power screen here, or a power button here. And what you want to do is you just want to restart it. And what you do is you restart it while holding the Shift key down. So I'm going to hold down Shift and click Restart. And it's going to take me into another menu. Now, different computers are going to be a little different. On this one, this part's pretty much the same. You go into Troubleshoot, Advanced Options, and then UEFI Firmware Settings. And we just restart, and it's going to take us into the UEFI interface. And from here, certain computers are going to be different. Some of them are just going to be able, you're going to be able to take a setting from UEFI and set it to BIOS, and then once it boots back up, you're in like the old-fashioned legacy BIOS, and then you can change the boot order there. This one's a little trickier, but once you know what you're doing, it's not too bad. We just have to go up here to the boot section, and if you have a CSM setting, you just have to enable that, and there we are, enable. And the other thing that you have to do is under security, you need to find the secure boot control, and you want to disable that. And there we are under secure boot, and we're going to disable that. And then we can go ahead and save and exit. And then what we want to do is immediately go back into this, and by doing F2 key on this machine, and I know some Toshibas are like this as well, it'll get you back into here. And then we can go ahead and put our device in the slot here. There we go. And now you'll notice when we go across to the boot settings, we now have the DVD RAM, which is the CD DVD player, and we also have, and I don't see our, yeah, because I put the scan disk in late. Let's see if it comes up under here. Yeah, we have to reboot one more time, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Do an F10 again. Say yes. Now if I'd had the device in early enough, we could have avoided doing the second reboot. But I'll go ahead and reboot it again. And I hit F2 there to get back to it. And now, yeah, now we have our SanDisk, I should say, Cruiser Glide. And you'll notice it's under the boot settings too. But where we're going to change it here is under Save and Exit. And we're just going to go to SanDisk Cruiser Glide and hit Enter. And it's going to go ahead and boot from that now. And this is not the standard way it works on most machines, but some it will. And if you're not sure, if you read the page on your Google or whatever for your device, then they'll usually give you some information or contact us. But anyway, this is going to start up into the password reset, and then from there we would just continue on like we did in the last time. So that's it. If you have any questions or need any help, be sure to contact us. Otherwise, good luck with resetting your password, and you have a great day. Thank you.